Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of L.A.Word. My name is Adam. If this is your first time, L.A.Word is based out of Hebrews 4:12. For God's Word is living and active. That's what L and A stand for. This is L.A.Word Devotional. And I just want to dive into it today. If you notice, the title is Watchful. You ever had those times where you play cards with people and some of the people they tend to cheat? Well, let me tell you a story real quick. Where one incident when I was playing spades, and if you know in spades, for your partner you sit across from them, and so the opposing team they also sit across from each other as well too. And so as we were playing cards throughout the evening, I noticed that my friends of mine on the opposing team had these signals that they would notify each other of what card to play next. And I didn't catch on until like the second time, the second round, they were winning and so forth. And how I caught on is when one of the persons was notifying and the other one was distracted of something else, he didn't know what card to play. And today that's what I want to get into some scriptures about us being watchful, us being observant. Because like you, like me, there's situations in life that we get in circumstances, we get in situations just that may seem chaotic, may seem messy. A lot of times we're asking questions of why, where's God is in this, and a lot of times to be honest, we're very impatient. We don't want to wait. And so today I want to look at two Old Testament passages. One is in Psalm 123 verses 1 through 2, and the second passage we're looking at is Habakkuk chapter 2 verses 1. Now, in the psalmist writes in 123, it's basically a psalm about mercy. The person who is writing this is in the midst of a chaotic situation. There's a troublesome time. But in the midst of all this, he's waiting to hear from God. He's waiting to see God's hand and being merciful unto him in this situation. He's waiting to be rescued. But I want to look at this passage because a lot of us sometimes we kind of overlook certain passages. We kind of look over the scriptures. We kind of look over certain words. And I love word pictures here. So if you will, just follow me real quick. Psalm 123 verses 1 through 2. Here it goes. It says, I lift up my eyes to you. The psalmist is talking, I lift up my eyes to you, O God. To you whose throne is in heaven. As the eyes of slaves look to the hand of their masters, as the eyes of a maid look to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God till he shows us his mercy. Now, go back and look at verse 2. It says, as the eyes of slaves look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of a maid look to the hand of her mistress. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the ancient days, when you had a master who was the head of the household, whether it be a king or he owned slaves or servants or whatever it may be, what they would typically do is they would stand in the same room. Specifically, if the master had guests over. And what the servant's job was to do is to watch for the hand signal from the master. Because as soon as the hand signal went up, whether it be a snap or a finger or whatever it may be, the servant, the slave, would come over and serve the master or serve the guest or whatever it may be. But the focus here is, though, that the servant was always watchful of what the master did. Did you get that? The servant was always watchful of what the master did. He's waiting, he's indicating what's the next move, what's the next step. But his eyes are constantly focused on the master. Flip over to Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 1. Here's another word picture. It says, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am to give to this complaint. Now, let me remind you, Habakkuk at this particular time is he's devastated. You know, God, what are you going to do about the situation that's taking place with your people? I mean, they're living destructive lives, and then when God answers them back and says, hey, the Babylonians are going to come in, they're going to basically discipline you all, they're going to take you away, yada, yada, yada. Well, Habakkuk's like, how can you do that? I mean, are you holy? Are you righteous? Are you kidding me? I mean, these are people like are wicked and treacherous. You're going to bring these people? These people are even more sinful than us. But the thing is, he was still being to God. But what I want to get across with these two verses is they're both watchful. That's the thing. They're both watchful. I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. It's a word picture that Habakkuk's basically saying, I'm going to be in a watchtower in my heart and in my mind, and I'm going to be ready for whatever answer, whatever takes place. The same thing with the psalmist. That he's going to be like the eyes of the slave or the mistress that looks to the master. I'm waiting for you, Lord. I'm waiting for that next signal to indicate what's next. But the focus, both of these passages are on the Master. Both of these passages are upon the Lord. So I guess my question, my first question would be is, are we paying attention? Are we paying attention to the smallest or even slightest hand signal from God? Because, you know, there's times in your life that everything else is chaotic. Everything else is going on. But you want to hear an answer from the Lord. Right? You want to hear an answer from the Lord. And here lately, man, you know, I've done a lot of counseling. I've been talking with a lot of people. And it just boils down to impatience. We're human. That's one of my worst weaknesses. You know, a lot of times I get very impatient, and I think a majority of us all can say that. But here, God is specifically saying in both these passages, man, wait on me. Just be watchful. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Because when our focus is upon the Lord, just like the psalmist in the midst of his trouble, his eyes were still focused upon the master, just like the servant in the corner of that room was waiting for that hand signal, is waiting for the indicating what's next that God has in their life. Habakkuk said, man, I'm going to be watchful. Like a person, like a guard in a watchtower, I'm going to be watchful. I'm going to set my eyes, my thoughts, my heart upon you, Lord. So, again, are we paying attention to the smallest, even the slightest hand signals that are taking place in our lives? And one of the ways that we can do about that is prayer. And two, just spending time in God's Word and spending time with just fellowshipping with Him. And then here's my other one. What are the distractions in your life that are allowing you to see what God is indicating to you? So God's trying to convey something to you. God's trying to get something across to you, okay? But you're clouded. Let's just put you as that servant in the room, but you're distracted with everything else that's going on in the room, and you're not focused on the hand signal. So, may this week, may you clear the clutter. May you just present everything to God and say, look, man, these are my distractions. Lord, this is what's going on in my life. I want to be completely and utterly just focused on you. I want to be watchful of what you're trying to indicate to me in my life, of what is next, of what you have me to do. My name is Adam. This is L.A.Word Devotional, and I thank you for taking your time for watching.